台湾不属于中国是吗
？Yes,
嗯，
yes。老板过来和我说呀，哎，这是什么意思？
司机少睡，没有这么多，司机没有说。
你个垃圾！我的意思是，现在就把它买了。
The crisis canvas. China faces total collapse beneath the veneer of propaganda. As of September 13th, 2025, we cannot ignore the widening cracks in the foundation of a self-proclaimed superpower. China, once hailed as an economic miracle, now reveals unmistakable signs of a comprehensive crisis. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, with its colossal propaganda machine, is desperately concealing dark secrets, corruption corroding the military, an economic collapse plunging millions into despair, and a society shackled by invisible walls. It's no coincidence that the Chinese passport, once a symbol of opportunity, has become a cage rather than a key to the world. Let's unravel the most shocking pieces of this puzzle, where fabricated strength is crumbling and the truth is rising from the ashes. The invisible wall. Passports confiscated, freedom erased. Imagine holding a valid passport, a visa in hand, and a plane ticket ready, only for a single phone call from authorities to shatter everything. This is the brutal reality for millions of Chinese citizens in 2025, not because of law-breaking, but for vague reasons. You are not allowed to leave. No explanation, no legal basis, just chilling silence from anonymous officials. Applying for a passport now feels like a CIA interrogation. Authorities dig into your private life, from relationships with spouses and children to neighbors' gossip. A teacher of classical poetry or a doctor filing medical reports can be labeled a potential risk, forced to surrender their passport to schools or local agencies. Take the case of Liu, a manager at a state-owned enterprise. Early this year, he took his child to Malaysia for Lunar New Year. By summer, his request for a business trip was denied under a new rule. Only one overseas trip per year. His superiors bluntly asked, "Are you planning to emigrate?" His passport and permits for Hong Kong and Macau were confiscated by his employer, with even county-level party committees needing to approve travel. This isn't oversight, it's enslavement. They call it centralized management to avoid the term illegal seizure, but it's a suffocating system of permissions, flight numbers, daily itineraries, even meal and sleep plans abroad. A business trip to Hong Kong with colleagues was canceled due to endless paperwork and delays. This phenomenon spans from Fujian to Hainan, Jiangsu to Hunan. At airports, interrogations have escalated. Phones are inspected, messages read, invitation letters scrutinized. A harmless chat can brand you as suspicious, leading to instant travel bans. Bloggers and citizens whisper, the CCP fears not external enemies, but the awakening of its own people. Exposure to true freedom abroad sparks comparisons and dangerous questions. The secret? A total control system, masking fear of losing power under the guise of personal safety. Visas canceled, the world shuts its doors, Chinese students labeled suspected spies. If home is a prison, the outside world is building steel walls. Canada, once a haven for students, rejected 88,000 Chinese student visa applications in the first half of 2025, a 70% drop from last year. Another 125,000 work visas were denied, impacting 210,000 temporary immigrants. In the U.S., the situation is bleaker. Students are pulled into black rooms at airports, interrogated for hours about their entire family history. A female student in Miami recounted, "They checked everything, from hotels to documents. I was lucky to get through, but the advice is to prepare meticulously. One small mistake means deportation." The case of Gu, a master's student at the University of Houston, is a ticking time bomb. Detained for 36 hours and interrogated for 10, he was deported for joining a WeChat group of the Chinese Students and Scholars Association, CSSA, which the U.S. accuses of being a surveillance arm of Beijing's consulates. Despite his parents being CCP members and Gu only a youth league member, his university ethics report, written under orders to endorse Xi Jinping thought, was used against him. "Why should I believe you now instead of what you wrote?" a customs officer mocked. Gu was forced to swear on camera, then banned from entry for 5 years, his visa voided with black ink. The U.S. House Committee has called for severing ties with the China Scholarship Council, CSC, which funds thousands of students, but is suspected of facilitating technology and intelligence transfers. Wang Huan, chair of the Global Service Center for Quitting the CCP, warns students must cut ties with the CCP to stay safe. The CCP's secret? A spy network disguised as education, ensnaring young people in an international trap. India has blocked Chinese tourist visas entirely, even via Nepal. Southeast Asia delays entries with hints of bribes. The Chinese passport is no longer a symbol of power. It's a mark of trouble. Arrogance and shame. Chinese tourists tarnish their nation's image globally. While the CCP peddles its invincible wolf warrior narrative, Chinese tourists are making a mockery of themselves worldwide. On September 3rd, a Chinese woman on a Japanese subway blared a military parade livestream, ignoring requests for silence. "I'm Chinese, can't I watch?" she shouted, despite being married to a Japanese man. The viral video prompted calls for her deportation. A long-term Japan resident revealed 80% of Chinese tourists harbor hostility, some visiting just to witness Japan's collapse. In South Korea, a Chinese woman confronted a Taiwanese tourist, yelling, "Taiwan is part of China," escalating to insults and threats. Her video garnered 200,000 views, earning her the label Little Pink, a product of blind propaganda. In Singapore, a Chinese woman berated Shake Shack staff for bringing McDonald's food inside. In Malaysia, tourists refused seatbelts, arguing with police. A Singaporean blogger quipped, "Remove no smoking signs so they'll break rules and get fined more." Ironically, in Russia, China's brother per Putin and Xi, Chinese tourists are treated like criminals. Videos from Sheremetyevo Airport show them funneled into red channel inspections, while others pass freely through green. Friendship is just talk, students lament. Russia's history of invading China lingers, and despite leaders' embraces, ordinary citizens face suspicion. The social secret, a CCP-fueled mindset of bullying the weak, fearing the strong, turning citizens into arrogance in Southeast Asia, but subservience in Moscow. They buy suitcases full of high-quality Japanese goods, admitting domestic products are inferior, yet chant national strength. This is an identity crisis, a nation brainwashed, now isolating itself. A rotting military, corruption erodes the PLA, missiles fail 50% of the time. Amid the September 3rd parade pomp, Xi Jinping's speech carried a whiff of gunpowder. No mention of peace as in 2015, replaced by unification by force and unstoppable rejuvenation. But behind the spectacle lies a horrifying truth. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, is rotting from corruption. The rocket force's missile failure rate is a staggering 50%, worse than the national football team. During Pelosi's 2022 Taiwan visit, 10 missiles were launched, 5 failed. They didn't activate, veered off, or exploded mid-air. Whistleblower Du Wen revealed on Inside, "Look at China. No corruption, no promotion. Equipment is chaotic. Senior officers are sacked en masse, and key positions remain vacant. An internal film, The Anxiety of Victory, shown only to regiments and above, admits the PLA is weaker than the old Beiyang fleet. Xi's purges merely swap one corrupt group for another. Rocket force, equipment, branches, even the Central Military Commission are riddled with insiders. Du Wen sums it up. They love grand achievements but lack capability. One tree doesn't make a forest. Blogger Zhang Shufang boasted donating 100 million yuan if war broke out, only to face fierce backlash, even from little pinks. Send him to the suicide squad. An Elephant News article vanished after posting, but copies spread. The biggest secret: the PLA isn't an iron army but a mud pile, masked by parades and propaganda, yet ready to point guns where if war erupts. Propaganda versus reality, fear of awakening, and ideological isolation. The CCP indoctrinates youth with wolf warrior bravado and she thought, removing English from exams and mandating guiding ideology studies. But reality bites. Tourists shamefully buy Japanese goods due to inferior domestic products. Students are deported for party ties. Dongguan workers sleep in concrete pipes. On September 6th in Shanghai, a woman insulted a sushi chef. Cheap food for low-lives, then demanded police arrest interveners. Commentator Shiko notes, moral collapse, societal frustration with no outlet under the CCP. The paradox, shunned by the world, restrained at home. The root? The CCP's opposition to democracy, transparency, and human rights breeds suspicion that spills onto citizens. But the real fear is awakening. When citizens taste freedom, they question. When you isolate people to control them, that's not strength, it's survival, a blogger whispers. The hidden secret, a system terrified of its own people, using passport control and propaganda to sustain an illusion. The CCP's dark secret and an uncertain future. China in 2025 is a canvas of total crisis. The CCP hides behind a facade of great rejuvenation, but cracks are glaring. Economic collapse drives millions into poverty. Society frays from discontent and isolation. Politics rot from corruption and fear. This isn't a superpower, it's a system living on borrowed time. As the world's doors close and domestic walls rise, Chinese citizens are trapped in a cage. Will awakening spread, or will the CCP tighten its grip? Share your thoughts below. Subscribe for updates. Let's uncover these secrets together, because the truth cannot be buried forever. Thank you for reading.